What's up, guys? In this video, I guess the part 2 of this y-axis assembly here, we've got the linear slide rail bearings on, we've got the spindle motor clamp assembled, and now we just need to get this thing straight so that way we can go ahead and install it on our x-axis rails here. So now, one thing I did discover, I wasn't sure what position this goes in, but I did find out that it needs to go about midway, because I did a test run with my x-axis rails there, and it was hitting the bottom piece. So let's go ahead and go over with it. Let's go ahead and get our bottom tightened up, because this is what we're going to base the rest of the adjustments off of, because I know down here is going to be nice and level. Nice and tight. Right there. Good. So looking about 65 millimeter on that over here. Let's do some. Let's go up just. Let's make it 65 because it's about 64. All right, 65 mil on that side. Let's go ahead and tighten down the top, clamp it down, and then let's check this side here. Right there. Alright, 65 on both sides. Let's remeasure. 65. 65. Yeah, my battery's dead, so it's not giving me a digital readout, but it has the scale right here, so no worries on that. So just in case an expert wants to chime in and say, hey, he's not actually reading anything, well, that's why. Alright. Setting it down, let's re-measure for good measure. 65. 65. So I know that it's level from here to here. This part's level, but I can see this part is crooked. This side is way lower than this side. So now we at least know these three parts are nice and straight. Here, here, and here. Now when we go to fit it onto our x-axis rail here, we're going to have to loosen the top up and make sure that it's nice and snug up against this once we cap it off with the end piece here. There we go. Now for the bottoms here, I want to try to make both bottoms flush. I want to make sure they're flush here. That looks good. Let's tighten it back up. That looks good. So yeah, that right there. Now I know everything is straight and symmetrical, and it's going to clear here and it's going to clear there, so no problems there. Let's go ahead and move on to the threaded rod portion. I was scratching my head on this part because I was going through the pictures and I had a hard time trying to figure out how this worked, but I kind of have this figured out. Right here, I don't know if you can see it or not. I hope you can. But I already inserted these nuts and I press fit one of these bearings in the top because it had like a relief here, and I'm like, well, that kind of really looks like a spot for a bearing, but I'm really not sure. So I went through the pictures and I actually found a picture of there's a bearing in there. So I'm definitely 100% certain that there's a bearing that goes here. Nut goes into that part right here. There you go. You can see it. There's the nut right there. So let's go ahead and do the same thing to this part. And what I did was I threaded the nut on the end of the rod and went through the hole. Made sure that it set in there, and then I pulled it out. This is another thing. There's no set screw or anything that holds the nut in, so I don't know. So what I'm thinking is when the lead screw is in there like this and it's capped off with two nuts on both sides, and then you've got your bearing over here, not your bearing, your pulley and then the stepper motor, I think it kind of keeps it in. I don't know, but I kind of don't want to permanently affix it in right now. I mean, I could super glue it in and all that stuff and probably work just fine, but for right now, until I fully understand that part, we've got our bearing pressed in here. This is the top of the Z assembly here. We've got our nut on both sides, and now let's go ahead and press fit our bearing in here, and I'll show you how I did that. Where's my... Here it is. Okay. Before I do that, I have to take my sharp-ass X-Acto knife, and I need to cut off some of the brim that it left, because this was the bottom of the printer bed. Done. Moving on. Take our bearing. Make sure there's no crap on it. I think I just blew right into the microphone. That's my bad. I see a little spot right here, so let's go ahead and take that off. Let's wreck the Hercules quadcopter in process. No big deal. Alright. Why is everything so much more harder when you start recording? There we go. Now that's as far as it goes in, because in the picture it looked the same way too. So here, I'm gonna do the other side here. Alright, so that's not working. Why isn't that not working? try going in through the other way.
Got him!
Okay, well that seemed to work just fine. I don't know why it didn't seem to work. I don't know if there's something going on with this end of my lead screw or not, but it feels pretty smooth. There we go. It's turning that bearing. So let's keep it about like that. There. So that's it right here. This is almost complete Z-axis spindle clamp assembly. We got it all nice and straight. Now I just need to cap it off with a nut and a washer on this side. Then we've got our pulley, and our stepper motor is going to go here. But while we are at it, let's go ahead and see if we can't get this thing on the X-axis rail here. Okay, I decided before we put it on our Z-axis rail here, we are going to install our stop switches. Yes, stop switches. So this is the top stop switch here. See? This screw is a little bit bigger than what I need for the lead stop switch. But the reason why I went just a little bit bigger is so that way it bites into the plastic nice and good, as opposed to this tiny little screw. Oh, thumbs in the way. There you go. Alright, before I screw on the stop switch, I'm gonna just clear out the hole just a little bit, just so that way the screw has something to bite into. And equally on both sides. You don't want to tighten one side and then the other. Perfect. Rinse and repeat. Oh, it's resting on the stop switch. Alright, so we're going to have to be careful on that. Again, let's clear out the hole. Good lord. And make sure the switch is facing on equal direction. You see the switches here, switches there. I don't think it really matters, but it just makes me happy. I like everything just to be symmetrical and look the same, straight ish. Bam. So that way when this is going back and forth on its x-axis, it can't crash this way and it can't crash this way, because just in case you don't know, I'm sitting trying to push it down, wonder why it's not going down. It's because I got my lead screw in it. Yeah, just in case you don't know, end stops prevent your CNC machine or your 3D printer or whatever machine from destroying itself, because it will. Absolutely it will. So now we have our end stops for the x-axis. Now we are doing our end stops for the z-axis. And let's go ahead. You see on the top of the clamp here, you should be able to see that. If I can see it on my phone, you can definitely see it. They are 2 notches. When it goes up, hits that switch. Now we just got to do the bottom one. Same thing, it's got the 2 holes in there. Probably a little easier if I use a bigger screwdriver too. Alright, that's it. That is it for our x-axis and z-axis. See if I can't get you a shot of it there. It's the z-axis lap. Okay, yeah, by the way, the threaded rod isn't supposed to slide back and forth like that. The reason why it does is because there's no stepper motor and the stop for it, so just in case you're wondering, you probably won't, but yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if we can't get this slid on the x-axis rail. The top is gonna have this little square end right here, and the bottom is not gonna have it. What's gonna happen is the end stop is gonna hit this part here. So this kind of gives me a reference on what is the top and the bottom. I guess it matters whether you want to have your end stops on the top here or on the bottom. I guess it really doesn't matter, but I just chose the top. And I've already got my piece slid on. You can see that little square there, so I know that's the top. Alright, so let's get that lined up. Let's get this in here like that. Okay. Okay, so this is going to tell me where I need to adjust this piece further up or not, because I'm fairly confident it's kind of squishing them down. You see what I'm saying? So I might have to go up on this top piece here. Let's see how far it's off. Let's see how bad it is. Yeah, that's pretty off. That's okay. Maybe I should just started with this top piece off and then put the top piece on with the end piece. Blap, blap, blap. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Y'all didn't get to see it, but I've had this top piece off and on probably about 15 times. I removed a good majority of that in editing. So yeah, just thank me. You know, because for some reason I don't understand why this didn't just go together magically. It's easy. It's easy. Alright. So we got that piece off. let's slide our end pieces on. Is this gonna come out? This can't come out, can it? Okay, alright. Let's be easy. Trying to record a video here. Let's put our top back on. And now we can sandwich the top down to our rail here. It made a lot more sense doing it like that than before. Before kind of seemed like a huge waste of time, really. So we want it snug. Our washers. Then our nuts. Let's test it out. That feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. It looks pretty good too. I like that. There we go. Okay. Now, of course, we'll perfect this and we'll finalize it and we'll get the everything all straightened up and buttoned up and looking good. So let's tighten up our smooth rods on that end. Let's flip it around. So our bottom nuts here, we can go ahead and snug up. Cool, that's it. I think for this video I'm going to call this part good. We are making progress. Next, we need to worry about our stepper motors, our pulleys. We need to get this lead screw locked in somehow. But yeah, I like that. There's no play in it at all. There's no play. Nothing. And what I do want to do is I want to polish this rod. Which, I mean, I've got a polishing wheel out in the garage. We'll get this thing, get the rod itself nice and smooth as possible. No imperfections, because again, I'm using a steel rod. Ideally, I would like to use an aluminum rod, but I've already bought the steel rod. I can make this work. We can oil this up nice and good. We need to make sure our lead screws look nice and oily. No issues. But that's it. We've got our X-axis rod assembly on here. We've got our X-axis linear bearing rails here. Spindle clamp. We got our end stops installed. Yeah. So basically, we just need to get the MDF piece cut for both ends, install it on our Y-axis rails. You know, because I'm pointing to them because you know where they're at, right? They're on the floor actually next to me. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and eventually I figure out how to reply to them, because I can't. It says failed to reply.